Sincere, I think it's Valentine, cause on the morning line, the guy's got him figured at 5 to 9. So make it F and 10, he wins by a...
Hello racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Saturday, September 14th races at Hastings. We do have 7 races on the Saturday program and 8 races on Sunday. Both days we're starting at 1:50.
As our meet is winding down, we got about 3 weeks left to go.
After that, yeah.
Speaking of winding down, it's winding down because we just had our biggest day, which was last Sunday, Derby Day. We had 6 races on tap, 6 stakes races on tap. There's 10 races. 6 of them were stakes. We're going to go through and look at some of these races. The first one we're going to do today is the SW Randall Plate. Going a mile and 1/8 for older boys for $50,000. There was a couple scratches, so it wound up being a field of 4. Horses to keep an eye on here. You see the 2 is Shrug. 4 is Commander.
Heads off to the lead. Yeah.
Brass and Gold is the inside of Commander here. And Wilo Cat just sits biding his time at the back of the pack. Shrug sets pretty honest fractions, 23 and 1, 46 and 4 for a mile and 1/8 race.
Yeah, they weren't going ridiculously fast, but they were clipping along. Really not much changes through the opening, I'd say 6 furlongs. I think everyone was happy with their position. Shrug's got the lead, drifting out a little bit there. Commander floated out 3 wide. Brass and Gold had his same sort of stalking trip on the rail that was successful in the Redicop Classic. And Wilo Cat was just biding his time in the back of the pack with new pilot Amadeo Perez. They do start to stretch out here, as you see, though. Actually, this part of the race, obviously this quarter was running quite a bit quicker.
Yeah.
And they do make a bit of a break away from the 2. They're racing in packs of 2 right now.
As Commander came to Shrug, they took off a little bit, as you mentioned. And the 46 and 4, I thought was pretty honest for this distance. And Wilo Cat is just, Wilo Cat and Brass Gold in good spots. And but Wilo Cat looked very relaxed as they came by the grandstand for the first time.
10 and 3. See, they really picked it up that third quarter.
Yeah.
They went 23 and 4/5, which is pretty solid interior fractions here at Hastings. And then you see Commander coming up on the outside of Shrug, and you see Amadeo Perez on Wilo Cat, kind of getting the jump on Brass and Gold, but Brass and Gold's staying in there. But he kind of got the jump on him. And Wilo Cat's just gobbling up the ground here, swinging out 3 wide, catching the pace setters. Brass and Gold kind of runs into whether they go inside or outside, but goes in between. Commander very game in defeat, but Wilo Cat cruised on by. It was a big run. Yeah,
ends up winning by 2 for John Snow Trainer, of course.
Cowboys and Indians, Wayne Oliver.
Rob Fierventura and our good friend Wayne Oliver getting the stakes win on BC Derby Day, the SW Randall Plate.
Yeah, they had high weight on BC Cup Day and didn't quite get the job done that day, but they got their revenge. He's certainly going to be one of the horses to beat when they stretch out even farther in the BC Premiers on closing day, October. That's on the Thanksgiving Monday on October the 14th. That's the next time you'll see all Commander and all these horses, Brass and Gold, and of course Wilo Cat. So it'll be a lot of fun when all 3 of them show up again. Here's our next race. Once again, we're going
Delta Colleen.
The Delta Colleen. Older mares were in the spotlight here. And the heavy favorite here, of course, was Saturday Night Ride, who's just, spear off to the lead here, splits horses, and seems to get a comfortable lead. Queen's Vicar sits on the outside of her. And Madeira Park under Rico Walcott gets a nice tracking trip, and Turlani's a closer 4th. But the fraction's far more comfortable in this
absolutely. 23 and 2 for the first quarter.
Almost 23 and 3, actually. 23.58, which is almost 23 and 3.
That's okay, but it's the next one that is really telling. The 48 and
they really slowed it up.
48
Nobody
and 1,
moved.
24 and 3. They went the second quarter in, and this race looked to be over. Rico Walcott does a good job of Madeira Park, kind of a bigger, long stride filly.
Right.
He kind of keeps her momentum going. She never really has to check. She looks like she's in a little tight here, but he pushes his way out to keep her going. And but there's the 48 and 1 I talked about.
Yeah, not much pace on it.
Thought this race would kind of be over from here on out. Starting to ride in full control, running as she had in Edmonton, getting the lead, slowing down the fractions, and being very tough to get by.
Yeah, and here comes Rico on the 1 horse, Madeira Park. Queen's Vicar's out 3 deep, but Saturday Night Ride still seems to be in control. And but almost 113 for the 3 quarters. Really no excuses for Saturday Night Ride. And
she looked like she was home here.
She's starting to sprint away. But maybe the 1 1/8 is a bit far for her. And Madeira Park, who ends up winning the race, the one-horse Madeira Park, for those of you that is going to come out here on the outside under Rico Walcott and switches leads and really goes by Saturday Night Ride quite comfortably. Wins going away.
And Wanda Woman.
Unlucky trip for her. Well, she actually gets up for second, but no pace to help her out. They were walking the first 6 furlongs, and that really hurt Wanda Woman's chances. She probably was the best filly in the race and might be the one to beat in the Ballerina if she can get an honest pace, but she certainly didn't get it last Sunday.
But congratulations to, of course, Rico Walcott, who had a big day here on Derby Day. Rode 4 horses, won 2 stakes.
Yeah. And Dad, Dave Forster.
Dave Forster.
Well done, another
and of course,
stakes win.
George Gilbert and Ray Hansen, who have the mare, and this is the 3rd or 4th winning filly out of stakes winning filly out of Capilano.
Capilano. She'd been a great mare. I know she won a stake for them.
She won the Washington Oaks,
for Dave and Capilano. Actually, she won a lot of races. Here comes
here comes one a lot of people were waiting to see.
This is the one that she's in the 2-hole. The white blinkers didn't break great. Arabella's Muse, but she quickly gets up in between horses and assumes command. This is the Sadie Diamond Futurity. 6.5 furlongs for 2-year-old Canadian-bred fillies, and this big daughter of Finality out of the great race mare Excited Miss was all business.
And Elusive Lily, that's Elusive Lily out of the Jody Rawson barn. Comes up, tries to put a little pressure on her, and the 3-horse Habida under Mario Gutierrez. They come up, they try and stay with her, but she is a lot to try and catch.
A very easy opening quarter, 22:58, not super quick fractions, but Frank was riding her obviously with a lot of confidence as the little tiny filly by Cause to Believe, Habida, was putting a little bit of pressure on, as you mentioned, an Elusive Lily. Here comes Architecture, one of the choices up the rail, but Arabella's Muse, this is like a filly she's got a great future.
This could be a once-in-a-generation type filly.
45, 79, still not fast, but just watching her glide away. The final
Frank
time
never really
is the
asked
impressive part. I mean, those are 2 nice fillies behind her, Habida and Architecture, and she's making this look like an absolute, this is a picnic. 109.58, she went 23 and 4 around the turn, just still cruising away, probably never took a deep breath, 16 flat. That is crazy fast. It was actually almost 2 seconds faster than the Colts and Geldings round the Jack Diamond Futurity. That shows you that's one amazing filly, and they don't come along that often.
Yeah, they could have run her against the boys just to show off.
Just to show off. But congratulations to Leif Nordahl,
and
Karen Nordahl, and the Cluches. Job well done with Arabella, and Frank Fuentes. Job well done with Arabella's Muse. All right, let's get on to our Saturday program. We'll have 3 more. We'll show the other 3 races from the Derby Day program on our show.
On our Saturday card,
on the Sunday show.
The boys Futurity, Jack Diamond Futurity, the Oaks, and the Derby, of course.
So we'll get into Saturday program here. We got a field of 6 fillies and mares going 6.5 furlongs. I see a lot of speed, Drew, here and here. I see Danny's Chant going. I see Remarkably Free, Undo It, and El Ciervo all wanting position. I think things could get crowded enough to make the 3-horse Random Highs a winner. I'm going to try Random Highs, dropping in class. She ran against the boys last time. Obviously not where they wanted to run, but they tried the Marathon Series, but it didn't work out. But Amadeo Perez gets back aboard. He's been aboard for a lot of her good performances. I think Random Highs runs a big race on Saturday. I put the 6-horse El Ciervo, the obvious choice. I mean, she's had back-to-back wins at this level, and she's going to take some beating. But she's had good trips down on the inside. She moves outside. I'm a little concerned she may get fanned out a little bit. Might cost her, but still, she's definitely good enough to win. And I put the 4-horse Remarkably Free, another hard-trying performance last time, but she couldn't quite beat El Ciervo. She's as good as anything. She's the best of the rest for me. But I did like Random Highs just because of the dynamics of the race and how it should shape up. I think that'll help the 3-horse. So I went 3, 6, and 4.
I have the same top 2. I did put Random Highs on top as you did. As you mentioned, it looks like it's going to set up for, as well as you go back and look at who she's been running against. Ran into Notice Her and Clarice B for 10. Ran into Hidden Harbor for 7,500. Who came back and just got beat a nose in a stake. And then, as you mentioned, tried the boys in the endurance race, which is, again, a very tough race for this little mare. So I put her on top. El Ciervo, the obvious choice. You mentioned I got her in second. The 3rd spot I put See Eye to Eye of the Frank Barry barn. Finally got through her non-winners of the year, but she's a filly that always gets a piece of it, seems. She's, what are her numbers? 7 and 9 in the money this year. So she's.
No, I can see her running into 3rd.
She's liable to hit the board. So I put her in 3rd. I got 3, 6, and 2 in the 1st. On to the 2nd allowance race for fillies and mares going 6.5 furlongs. A field of 5 signed on. And There's two horses. I was kind of flip-flopped. I know you ended up on Graffiti Grace. I took Catalia. A nice run last time to beat Graffiti Grace. The time before that, she ran in the 17.5 against the boys and just missed that day. The time before that, she ran second to Saturday Night Ride. She's a pretty honest filly, and I like her in here. She's got a nice stalking kind of way about her. She seems very versatile, and Jeff Birmingham fits her well. So I put her on top. Graffiti Grace obviously figures to be very tough in here. Under Richard Hamill. Just got beat a half last time by Catalia. Time before that, she was against the boys. Graffiti Grace is a pretty honest little filly herself. So I like her in second. And for third, I ended up going on Sitka Song. Kind of the same connections that brought Madeira Park over here to run in the stake at big odds and win on Sunday. Sitka Song broke her maiden over there. Tried an allowance race against the boys as well. And got beat 5 lengths, but comes over here and faces the girls again. So I threw Sitka Song in for third with leading rider Amadeo Perez aboard. 1, 2, and 5 for me.
Yeah, I just flip-flopped the top two. I'm going to try Graffiti Grace to win it. The only reason I don't think she won last time is because I don't think she's a big fan of being on the inside of a horse.
Yeah.
And if you look at her, 2 of her last 3 races, she's drawn inside, and she's been the inside speed, and she's folded both times. Whenever she's given a poor trip, 3 wide or whatever, she runs big races.
Yeah, that's
she
true.
wants to be on the outside. I think she gets on the outside of Catalia in this race, and that's the only. I'm just, nitpicking. They're very close in ability, but I think that will get the better trip, the more comfortable trip for her, and I think Richard Hamill will know that, and he'll put her in a good spot. Keep her on the outside, not pinned down where she's uncomfortable and probably not very happy, and so that's the only reason I would maybe throw Graffiti Grace over top of Catalia.
Those are the top 2, though.
Yeah, and then I ended up putting Bamboo Dream, who ran into third last time. Just a horse I don't like to win it, but I just think this horse will be able to running on and
pick up
between Sitka Song and her for third. Anyway, I went 2, 1, and 4, but I do like Graffiti Grace, who seems to run better on the outside of horses. On to the third race. Non-winners a 3 lifetime for 4,000. Colts and Geldings here. 6.5 furlongs will be the trip. I landed on the 5-horse Chapel Boy. I don't think he really cared for the sealed wet fast track last time. He just seemed to. He was in perfect striking position under Enrique Gonzalez, but he didn't lift a hoof. He was nowhere near the same kind of horse that ran 2 starts back, that just lost to Halo's Quest. He was all heart that day and just got beat a nose in a very fast time. So I'm going to give him another shot. He just returned to a sprint. I think I like the route to sprint angle once in a while, and I think Chapel Boy will go well. I put the 3 Breathe It, who had quite a bit of trouble last time. I think this horse is worth maybe having a look at. This guy wasn't brutal trouble, but I mean, he was put in some tough spots, and he didn't actually check repeatedly or anything, but I just thought he was an uncomfortable trip. Positive rider change. I think this horse is worth a look at nice odds, and I put the 2-horse Lucky Moly Minor. A couple of nice works, freshened up. This horse is pretty good as well at this level, so I think he's going to win a race before the season's out. He'll win his non-winners a 3, and it might even be today. I wouldn't even be surprised, but Scott Williams re-rides for Mike Anderson. I went 5, 3, and 2, though. I'm going to try Chapel Boy returning to a fast racing strip.
I have a few of the same horses. I put Lucky Moly Minor on top.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, ran a big race as non-2. Come back in the non-3 and ran into like Eustonia, Count Green, who has gotten very good of late. And as you mentioned, Mike decided to send him home for a little while, freshen him up. He comes back, had a nice 59-4 work the other day. So
this is his best distance too. He wasn't really a mile and
16.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was trying uncharted territory last time,
but yeah, I like the return work too. The 59-4. Scott Williams re-rides. I think he's on his game. I put Lucky Moly Minor on top. I put the 4-horse Nelly's Trick in the second spot. This is a horse who went to the lead and never looked back last time against a lot tougher company with Scamming and XF Dividend. So getting back into a non-3 kind of condition, I think will suit him well. And in third spot, I put Chapel Boy, your top pick. As you mentioned, probably wasn't crazy about the off track last time. The time before that, he just got beat a nose in the same condition, so he obviously fits in here. I got 2, 4, and 5 in the third. On to the fourth, claiming 5,000 for fillies and mares, going 1 mile and a 16th. And hold on to your hats, we have a big dropper in here.
Whoa!
Number 4, Orchid Silver, who ran in the BC Cup Distaff on BC Cup Day. Hasn't been seen since then. Former stakes winner, a winner of 190,000. Been a long time since she ran for a price, and is she ever running for a price today? Drops right in for 5,000. Obviously, it sets off some alarm bells of maybe where she's at. but
physically.
But if she is,
at least she worked.
Yeah, she worked, and if she's at all capable of her old ways, she's going to be tough to beat. If she doesn't, so that's the 4 Orchid Silver on top. If she doesn't, if she falters a little bit, I really like the 5 Maury's Glory. Philly's been running much higher here most of the year. It ran for 15 and 10. Was not disgraced in those events. So dropping in for 5, I think she's very tough in here. I got her in the second spot. And the third spot, I put Golden Ratio. Filly that was having some troubles at the earlier on in the year, but has really turned her form around. And her last 3 starts were all very good, just getting beat by, Remarkably Free, Elsie Arvo, those kind of mares. So I got her in the third spot. I got 4, 5, and 2.
Yeah, I agree with the 4 Orchid Silver, but please be careful with her. Have a look at her in the paddock. I mean, it's alarming to see this kind of drop out of stakes company. I mean, here's a filly that ran in the Ballerina last year. They protected her all year.
Ago,
they only ran her for 2 bits at the beginning of the year, but she's been in stakes races ever since. All of a sudden, 5,000. I mean, that's an alarming drop. It's not like you're getting eligible for a starter allowance series. We don't have one of those $5,000 starter allowance series here, so it's a very alarming drop.
It is what it looks like. It's a drop
to 5. Be cautious.
Yeah.
I put the 1 Hillingdon. I give this horse a shot. This horse has been running his better horses and is a mile and a 16th specialist, and I agree with the 5 Maury's Glory. This horse can get some cheap fractions. I mean, she went a little cheaper last year, but her first 2 runs this year have been okay. She hasn't hit the board, but still she could maybe make some noise on the head end because there isn't a pile of speed in here. Maybe Camino might be kind of pestering her out there on the lead, but if Maury's Glory can set some sensible fractions, she might lead them for a while. But Orchid Silver is your horse. I went 4, 1, and 5. On to the 5th race. Got some maiden 5,000 fillies and mares going 6.5 furlongs.
Good little race. 10 of them. 10 of them.
I'm going to go to the daughter of Italian Lover. It might be Italian Lover's first winner, maybe, the sire. But Lover's Lyra, the 3-horse, good runner-up effort to Lips. So I think Lips is the live race. If you look at horses coming out of certain races,
Lips would be very live in here, yes.
That I think is the strongest maiden $5,000 race of any of the races that these horses are coming out of. So I really concentrated on taking horses out of that race. And Lover's Lyra obviously ran extremely well. Leading rider stays on board, and I think it's graduation day for Lover's Lyra. Put the 10-horse Whistler in for second. This horse is dangerous, and I know it does have the 10-hole, but might be able to clear from the outside gate. She ran a good race last time, and I put the 1-horse Classic Cheese, who was freshened up, been off for a couple of months prior to that race. I know she got sick, and she might be a lot better this time with Kishan Balgoban. So I went 3, 10, and 1, but I think Lover's Lyra is your horse.
I put the 10 on top, Whistler. I think
Speed might go all the way.
Yeah, and a big race, her first start, just got beat a half length by Yancy Nancy, who came back and won. And then that Lips race, she got the lead, and she wasn't necessarily really pressured by Lips. The fractions were decent, but I think it just kind of took the air out of her sails having Lips.
That's probably why she got beat for second. I mean, it could be.
Her, so I think if she can get on the lead and get brave, I really like Whistler today. I got the 10 on top. The second spot, I put Medea, a horse who was in that Lips race too that I thought would run much better, that had been running decent races for, maiden 10, maiden 20, maiden 12-5 this year. I thought the drop into 5 would make her dangerous, and she just kind of seemed flat that day. So I'm going to toss that one out and go back to her previous races. And Robert Skelly rides for Cindy Krasner. I don't mind Medea in here. And the third horse, obviously one that figures, probably going to be your favorite, the one Mike mentioned, Lover's Lyra. I put in the third spot. As Mike mentioned, one that out of the Lips race, it figures to be tough in here as well. I got 10, 7, and 3 in the 5th. On the 6th race, 3-year-olds and up claiming 5,000, going 6.5 furlongs. And I've gone to a guy who is no stranger to the winner's circle here at Hastings. 16 wins for Arkhill. Out of the very hot leading trainer Craig McPherson. Him and Richard Hamill have good stats together. Ran for 7,500 last time, ran into Pacal, who
bad luck there.
Ran off the board.
And change.
Yeah, Pacal just ran a huge race that day, as you mentioned, 16 and change. No Pacals in here, I don't see, so I got Arkhill on top. The second spot, another horse that has been running well this year, is Dog Rock out of the Lavanaway barn. Antonio Reyes rides, coming off a pretty convincing win for 5,000 himself. And the third spot, I put the 2, Canucks Roar. Another one, he just got his non-winners of the year, but he's another one that always knocks on the door. He likes to hit the board, and he's a pretty tough little guy. I got him in the third spot, 7, 6, and 2 for me.
Yeah, I agree with the 7, Arkhill. I mean, he's a gem of consistency.
Yeah.
You look at his form. He's
16
wins, 14 of them here at Hastings. At the distance, he has 11 for 27 with 5 seconds and 8 thirds. He's only missed a board 3 times in his life sprinting. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And you're an off-the-pace horse.
That is impressive.
And you're an off-the-pace horse that can you can get unfortunate trips and get speed bias tracks or whatever, but this horse continues to be aggressively spotted and continues to win races. I think he wins. I think he gets an ideal setup again. You got Bosco's Quick, Canucks Roar, Country Kid likes to show speed, Womb Broom Express and Dog Rock. 5 of the 7 horses are all pace horses or want to be up near the lead. Arkhill can slide in behind
well for
them.
Arkhill.
And I think win the money. I put the 4 Navajo Knight, the other horse that doesn't have speed that might get a better pace scenario. He lost to Dog Rock last time, but it was just a 3-horse field. Actually ran last and ran 3rd. But he will get a more favorable pace scenario for him this time. Dog Rock's not getting an easy, cushy trip like he did last time, and things will be a little tougher for Dog Rock, and I think a lot easier for Navajo Knight, and that's why I put him in the 2nd spot, but I did still respect Dog Rock enough to put him in for 3rd. But I do like Arkhill. I went 7, 4, and 6 in race number 6. On to the 7th and final on the Saturday afternoon card. $4,000 claimers going a mile and a 16th. This race come up tough. Some of these races are going to get tough too towards the end of the year as people continue to drop horses trying to get wins. I went to the 3 Halos Quest. I'm going to give this horse a shot. This horse had a brutal trip last time. Had a tough draw. Ended up getting beat. It didn't get beat 4 or 5 lengths for second. But this horse was all over the track, like wide, and just post dictated that. He was just it was an unfortunate trip. I think he gets a much better trip drawing inside. I think there's a little bit of speed in here with Ray's Reno, Mazel Print. I think there will be some pace on, and Halos Quest will get to enjoy the Lord even. But Halos Quest will get to slide in behind. That's what I'm hoping. I get the nice little pocket trip in behind a 2 or 3 horse speed duel. And that horse has won like that with that trip before, and I think he can win again today. I put the 5 horse Texas Buccaneer on the class drop in for second. I think he could be dangerous. He's a horse that tried the marathons last time, but didn't work out. He's not as good as he once was, but this horse I think will fit nicely at this level. And I put the 2 Race Reno, who's been a real pace factor in his races, continues to run big numbers when he does get the lead by himself. And even when he gets pressured, he still hangs in. He's a pretty cool horse, so I'm going to try Race Reno for 3rd. I went 3, 5, and 2. I'm going to go a little off. I like Joy of the Lord too, but I went off to the 3 horse Halos Quest.
I went to Joy of the Lord, the horse you just mentioned. I put him on top. He had a kind of a rough trip last time. He was the favorite last time, and he was outside. He had kind of a wide trip, but down the lane he was still fighting on and only got beat a neck by Canucks Roar and Breathe It. So in the 1 hole, I think Skelly will let Ray's Reno and a few of these other ones go and maybe just sit behind and get a good stalking trip. So I like Joy of the Lord in this one. I put Ray's Reno in the 2nd, who has had a very good year. He's still eligible for the race because the races for 3,000 don't count. But anytime he's ran for this kind of price, he's been very dangerous. So don't count out Ray's Reno. And the 3rd spot, I put Texas Buccaneer, as you mentioned, a horse who has a great back form. He's kind of been all over the place this year. He was pulled up once, then he come back to run second. He's kind of been all muddled up. But I like the work, the work tabs. He seems fit enough. He's been racing against tougher. Scott Williams rides him. Tony Cluche's barn, I should say, has been going good. So I got him in the 3rd spot. I got 1, 2, and 5 in the nightcap. That'll do it for our analysis of the Saturday,
September 14th
races at Hastings. Up next will be our picks. Mike, as usual, will be up
there
first.
We go. Back in race number 1, I went to the 3 horse, Random Highs. Hopefully an American come from out of it and win it. I went 3, 6, and 4. Race number 2, Graffiti Grace. Hopefully getting off the rail will be the key to her success. 2, 1, and 4. Race number 3, I went to the 5 Chapel Boy, back on a fast track. I like my angle on him.
I like it.
5, 3, and 2. And Breathe It had lots of trouble. I don't mind the 3 horse. He might be the nice price play of the day. 4th race, number 4, Orchid Silver. Big class drop, but very leery about her. 4, 1, and 5. 5th race, number 3, Lover's Lyra over the 10 Whistler and the 1 Classic Cheese. In the 6th race, the ultra consistent number 7, Arkhill over the 4 and 6. And the 7th and final, I'm going to try the 3 horse Halos Quest. Hopefully gets a better trip today. 3, 5, and 2.
Up next will be my selections. There we go. In the 1st race, I agree with Mike on number 3, Random Highs over the 6 and the 2. In the 2nd, I went to the 1, Catalia over the 2 and the 5. In the 3rd, I went to number 2, Lucky Molly Minor over the 4 and the 5. In the 4th race, number 4, I agree with Mike, but be careful on number 4, Orchid Silver over the 5 and the 2. In the 5th race, I went to the outside, the lightly raced Whistler number 10 over the 7 and the 3. In the 6, I agree with Mike on number 7, Arkhill. That's a best bet of the day kind of horse for me, over the 6 and the 2. And then I went to the rail, number 1, Joy of the Lord, over the 2 and the 5.
Well, that concludes the Saturday, September 14th edition Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'd like to thank everyone for viewing. Hopefully you got a chance to go out to the CTHS sale. That was a great sale. I thought everything went well. Hats off to the consigners. They did a great job. The horses were well turned out. The breeders are breeding to top stallions. They're bringing in U.S. bred mares and foaling them in the province, and they're getting the proper prices now, and they look good. They're turning them out nice, and that's why the sale went so well.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to all consigners. That was an excellent sale. It was well done, and I know a lot of the buyers would be very happy with the product that they got, but that was a great sale for the Canadian Thoroughbred Horse Society. All right, on behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in to Handicapper's Corner, and we'll see you next time.
I hear his foot's all right, of course it all deep, and to be bred last night.